When we got that diagnosis, I realized that I just had to put everything else on hold
Hmm.
and figure this out because there wasn't much support. I went to a special nutritionist,
Hmm.
and I had a legal pad with me that had like 3 pages worth of questions,
Oh,
and
wow.
I left there with two of them answered.
Ah.
So I knew that there was so much that I had to figure out. And
Welcome to the Unstuck Career Podcast with your host, Ken Williams. Each week, we move along your path to possibility so you can finally have the life you want. Let's learn how to deal with people you never wanted to be friends with together so you can become unstuck and unstoppable in your career and life. And welcome back to another episode of the Unstuck Career Podcast. Today, I have with me Roh Doylida, who is just down the street from me in Chicago, little town. Maybe you've heard of it. And Roh and I connected because she helps women who are in their second career, which I love because how many people are in their second career now or third career? And so many people that I've talked to don't know that a second career is possible because they think that I don't have the experience or whatever. So welcome, A. And B, how did you get into this? How did you start working with women in their second careers?
well, first of all, Ken, thank you so much for inviting me on the podcast. I'm so happy to talk to you. I've actually listened to your podcast. I've been
Oh,
listening
good.
to it, and I really, really enjoy it. Um, it's so fun.
And spread the word.
Um, yes. How did I get into this? I'm on my fourth reinvention
Okay.
of myself. I started, I'm an actor. I started as an actor. I actually went to theater school.
Right.
Um, am I allowed to swear on your, or should I just use clean up my language?
Whatever,
I'll clean
whatever
up my
works for
language.
you.
I
My
think
mom
I'm
doesn't listen to this one, so
okay, good. Um, so I went to theater school and my dad didn't like it.
mm,
He supported it, but he really wanted me to go to business school. And
sounds like
every
your dad.
single day, yeah, every single night, he called me. He's like, "Done with that bullshit yet?" And I said, "No, Dad, I think I'm going to stay another day." And he said,
Uh,
"Fine, I'll talk to you tomorrow." And I kid you not, for 4 years, he
I
did
love that.
that. But the piece he didn't understand is that all of the skills that I gained there weren't just to be used on stage.
Mm,
I'm using them right now.
right.
So
Did
it
you
doesn't it
know?
doesn't matter.
Did you know that you're going to be using those stages, those skills in a second, third, fourth career, or were you just
No.
that's what you saw looking back?
That no, it's only in looking back. It's only in
Mm,
looking back.
okay.
But understanding that being able to storytell, being able to reach people and engage their emotions, all these different, and
Yeah.
being comfortable talking to people, all this. But okay, I was on the stage for 10 years, so
Hmm.
the Chicago stages for 10 years, which I absolutely loved. And then my youngest child was diagnosed with celiac disease.
Uh,
And this is back in like 2002, maybe two
yeah.
or three. And nobody had heard the words gluten-free before.
Right.
Absolutely no one knew what that was. And when we got that diagnosis, I realized that I just had to put everything else on hold
Hmm.
and figure this out because there wasn't much support. I went to a special nutritionist,
Hmm.
and I had a legal pad with me that had like 3 pages worth of questions,
Oh,
and
wow.
I left there with two of them answered.
Oh,
So I knew that there was so much that I had to figure out. And I don't think I shared this story with you before, but we were at the grocery store. I
mhm.
had my son with me at the grocery store. And back then, health food didn't get as much, you know, aisle placement. It
Yeah.
wasn't its own big thing. So it was at our grocery store, it was health food on one side and then cereal on the other.
Hmm.
All those boxes of cereal that are all geared towards kids.
Right.
And I'm busy studying, I'm looking for a different kind of flour. I'm looking for a mix. I'm looking for something.
Hmm.
And he said to me, "Mommy, is this safe? Is this okay?"
Yeah.
He spoke like Elmer Fudd. He used to say, "Is this gluten free?" And
Right.
I loved that. I loved it. And I looked at him and I said, "Oh, babe, no, that one's not okay." And I turned and I put down whatever I was holding and I'm like, "Let's keep going." And as I took a few steps and I realized he wasn't next to me, and I turned
Uh,
around and he's standing there and the tears.
uh,
And I sat down on the floor with him in my arms and the two of us cried
yeah.
right there in the grocery store. And And I thought to myself, no, 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 no. I can't, something has to change. I
Right.
have to fix this. And I remember saying to him, baby, I will make this okay.
Hmm.
And his birthday was coming up and I couldn't buy him a birthday cake.
Right.
There was nowhere to buy it. And I thought, you know what? I'm not the only mom who needs this.
Yeah.
And so, with no experience whatsoever, with either in business, in baking,
Uh-huh.
in any of it, I said, nope, I'm doing this. I
Yeah.
had a really, really good friend who's actually the director of my theater company. And
Okay.
I said, I bought whatever gluten-free cookbooks there were at the time, whatever gluten-free flours there were at the time. And I said, please help me.
Hmm.
And we started creating recipes. And I went and took cake decorating courses and cookie decorating courses and figured it out.
Yeah.
I figured it out and started selling it to people. And at the time, it was really health food stores.
Uh-huh.
When you got gluten-free stuff, you had to go to health food stores for it. So we were doing the health food stores. We were doing weddings.
Hmm.
That kind of blew my mind. We were doing sweet tables. We were doing obviously birthday cakes and every holiday thing you can imagine
Yeah.
for everybody. And it was it was wonderful because I learned so much so fast. I
Yeah.
didn't even know how much I was learning until we finally closed the bakery
Uh-huh.
and I sat down to think things through, to do some reflection.
Right.
I was like, whoa, that was amazing.
Right.
I had to learn about marketing and advertising
Uh-huh.
and customer service and just all of these different pieces.
Right.
Um, but then there I was bouncing around with no clear path for the first time in my life.
Yeah.
And I wound up falling into teaching.
Okay.
Literally, my daughter is a preschool teacher, and she said, "Mom, we need subs. Please just come be a sub."
So this is career
And
number three.
this is number three.
Okay.
Um, I had no idea what was going to happen that day, but I absolutely fell in love. And I
Right.
went back to school, and I've been doing early childhood education for almost 10 years now.
Hmm.
And I love it. There's just so much to love about working with children and finding each unique way for each unique child
Hmm.
to get these skills, to learn these foundational skills. It's just fabulous. But
Yeah.
like all my other careers, although it filled my bucket,
Uh-huh.
it did not fill my pocketbook because
That
it
can
was
be a problem.
no money, you know.
Yeah.
So I was scrolling on Instagram, like we all do,
Hmm.
and or Facebook. I don't even remember, and I heard digital marketing, people
Hmm.
talking about digital marketing, and I thought, well, all right, let me investigate it. And I sort of jumped in and immediately failed
Mm.
because all I was doing was copying what other people were doing.
Right.
And that doesn't work. It just
Oh.
doesn't work. It just doesn't. So I thought, well, all right, let me regroup here and just start learning about how digital marketing works
Hmm.
and all of the different pieces of it and how branding, what personal branding means.
Okay.
And as I was going through this, it started to just really just sort of clarified itself. All of the skills that I had gained through 30 years of other careers gave me exactly what I needed to be able to help other women transition into new careers as well.
Wow.
And And that is what I do. It's my passion. I absolutely love it because, there are so many when women and men too. I should not
Uh-huh.
just say women because
Right.
this is so true of men. It might even be more
100%.
true of men. Um,
We just don't ask questions. We don't ask for help. That's our problem.
exactly. That's it exactly. But imposter syndrome,
Yes.
you know, people have sort of different meanings of what that is, but really just not feeling like you can compete with everybody else, that
Hmm.
you're saying you're good at something that you actually don't know what you're talking about,
Right.
being embarrassed.
Yeah.
Women, well, this is probably true for men too. I always say women. I shouldn't do that. People will say, "You left that career to do what?"
Right.
Right? You left, you left a perfectly good corporate career to go organize people's garages? You you know?
So I
Yeah,
want to point something out. I don't, there's
yeah.
somebody that my wife works with who would love, well, to be more accurate, she loves organizing. And so my wife has been telling her, you got to reach out to Ken. You got to talk to Ken because I would encourage her to let's do something with that.
Yeah.
And so I had it back and forth with her, and she said, the market is saturated. It's not something that people would pay for. And I thought, no, there are there's so many opportunities. And one of the things you brought up earlier, I just want to emphasize because it is so critical, is you found a problem. You found a problem with the gluten-free or the lack of gluten-free good food options. You found a problem with the lack of good teachers. Now you found a problem with people not understanding how they can have a personal brand experience. And that's the first step. If there's a problem, which there are so many problems and more problems every day, all you have to do is find a problem and then solve it. And you don't have to solve everything, but you can find a problem that resonates with you for whatever reason, because it's your child that needs the support, or because it's something that you learned or you want to learn. Fill that gap. And that's a way that you can start to pivot to your second, third, fourth career.
It's interesting you use the word gap because that's what you look for is the gap in the marketplace, right?
Yeah.
There's personal brand. If you look up a personal branding specialist, you will find gazillions of them.
Yeah.
And they do different things. They'll have some different specialities, whether it's small business or large corporate or individuals or whatever their specialty is. But I'm talking to women like me, or
Mm.
I did it again, or even men
Well,
who are
I
who
will
are
allow it.
trying to yeah, thank you, who are who are reinventing themselves and feeling like they don't belong
Yeah.
and feeling like why don't I have this figured out? And maybe I just can't figure it out.
Right.
And I found a gap.
Uh-huh.
I found a place that I didn't see anybody else in that I had the unique skills to fill.
Right.
And that's what I talk to people about
Yeah.
is let's uncover, I call it the wisdom bridge.
I love
So the
that.
wisdom bridge is all of those skills,
Hmm.
all of the life skills, all of the business skills. I was talking to this one lady, another podcast lady. She's wonderful. And she was saying that she had thrown up on LinkedIn a profile
Uh-huh.
that was totally phony because it wasn't actually a business. But she took all the things she does as a mom
Uh-huh.
and put them up as skills. And she said, I was getting, people were contacting me from all over the place, but it's negotiating, logistics, you know what I mean? I mean, on and on and on and on, domestic,
Right.
skills. But there's so much. So women who have been stay-at-home moms, and they
Yeah.
think, well, I don't have any experience.
Oh, yes, you
There's
do.
so much experience,
That's
you know? Oh
Yeah.
my God, when you've had to be both the cheerleader, you've had to be the therapist, you've
Yeah.
had to be the career counselor, you've
Right.
had to be a marriage. How do you deal with marital issues?
Yeah.
I mean, we have so many skills
Right.
that it takes sometimes just talking about it with somebody else
Right.
to actually, sometimes people will talk to me and then I just repeat what they said back to them.
Hmm.
And they go, oh,
I have
oh.
value.
I never thought of it that way.
Right.
That's not how I think about it. And yeah, it's
I
really exciting.
I love that because I one of the things that I hear from a lot of people is that, especially if something happens in their job, they get laid off, or they're just things aren't happening. The phrase that I hear all the time is, well, I don't want to start back at square one. And I tell them, so I now want to hear how you would respond to that, but I tell them, you can't start at square one. You've already passed square one. And so it's not a do-over, it's a pivot. And
I love how you frame that. I absolutely love how you frame that. People say starting from scratch.
yeah,
I keep hearing starting from scratch. You're not. Nobody is.
scratch was a lot of
Nobody
years ago.
is. A lot of years ago. And some of the women I talk to are in their 60s, you
Yeah,
know, and they are claiming all of that life and that skill and that passion
right.
and focusing it usually in service of others.
Yeah,
Because that's really what most of us um, lean towards
yeah.
is how are we serving others?
Well, and because it's service and because it's not necessarily paid, we tend to discount the value of what we've created. And I on the podcast a couple weeks ago, we had Beth, who she was a teacher and loved teaching and hated the administrative parts of it. And she decided to start her own bakery. And like you, didn't know anything about baking or marketing or things like that. But she's making gourmet cookies and loving it. But because she was doing that for free, didn't really think of that as a marketable skill until somebody else came in and said, no, this is something that she's hoping to be able to retire her husband at some point because she's seen such success. But we tend to discount the things that we're naturally good at or that we don't get paid for. And I love that you're bringing some of those things out, that a transferable skill. That's what in the
They are.
job place we talk about
Mhm.
in the career space. It's a transferable skill. It doesn't matter if you're marketing your own business or somebody else's business. You're marketing business. You're marketing, I should say. And so it doesn't matter if you're baking your own cookies or cookies for somebody else. You're baking cookies. You have those skills, and that is it's a valuable awareness to see that something that you're really good at that you love is a service that you can provide to somebody else. And just because it's easy and fun doesn't mean that it doesn't that it doesn't account for anything.
Yeah. And it won't necessarily be easy and fun all the time.
Right.
Because that's just not and once you turn something into a business, it has a different feel to it.
Right.
If you, so I talk to a lot of holistic coaches,
Hmm.
holistic practitioners, and they do all of these different just amazing things with energy and with alignment in your body and just all these amazing things that I would never have thought of. But once you're doing it as a business,
Mm.
there's different aspects to it.
Right.
If you're doing it as a hobby,
Sure.
that's one thing. But if you're talking about a new business, that's actually, that means you've just got to, any entrepreneur needs the grit to keep going.
Right.
I mean, you and I were actually talking about this a little while ago about you give up.
Yeah.
believe you believe you have something
Mhm.
of value to say, something of value to offer, then yeah, you're going to have stuck points. Yes, you're going to have areas that need growth, but you have to stick it out.
Yeah. It's just part of the process.
Yeah,
And the process sometimes is fun because you can see that you're making progress. And sometimes you don't see the progress. And that's when it's most important to just keep plugging along because
I
if you give
talked
up,
to,
go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I apologize.
If you give up too soon, then there's you've created the failure because you didn't, it was just so close.
Yeah, it's, I forgot what I was going to say, but I completely agree with you.
Sorry about that. So, so
No.
what do you do to help people identify the those transferable skills, the things that they have of value that they probably don't recognize because they're so ingrained in their identity or their behavior? How do you help people figure that out, that they really do have value outside of the job that they used to have?
So, there are sort of three different pillars to the wisdom bridge. The first one is skill translation.
Mhm.
So, instead of saying my background has nothing to do with what I do now, it's the bridge tells us every skill you've mastered transfers.
Yeah,
You just need to connect the dots.
right.
Um, then the authority recognition piece. Oh, I don't have any credentials in this field. No, your track record of solving problems,
Right.
getting results, that is your credential. And that's a huge piece of it, is that people don't feel they have the credibility or the
Hmm.
authority.
Right.
And a huge piece of this wisdom bridge is reclaiming your credibility and your feeling of authority. And then the third part is value positioning.
Okay.
So instead of saying everybody else has more traditional experience than I do, you say your different background is your competitive edge. That's not your weakness. That's what makes you unique. Because a personal brand answers four questions. Who are you? What do you do? What makes you unique? And why should anybody care?
Right.
Well, it's that thing that makes you unique
Yeah.
that makes people care.
Right. And then going back to what you were talking about earlier, as you were trying to copy people in that
Hmm.
marketing space, you can't copy the uniqueness of who somebody is. You get a person like, and this is not going to be a good analogy, maybe, but you take somebody like Jerry Seinfeld, who's had a brilliant career. And if you try to deliver his jokes word for word, it probably won't land because
Yeah,
you're not Jerry Seinfeld. And the same is true with everybody in
it
whatever
is.
their area of brilliance is. That what makes you unique is what makes you it gives you a level of value, a level of exceptionalness that nobody can duplicate.
Nobody else has my past,
Right.
the careers that, the career path that I have followed.
Right.
Nobody else has it. But nobody else has yours,
Right.
and the things that you learned along the way, the things that, I talk to people about, what is something that you never thought you were going to be able to do? And then you actually did it and you thought, well, damn,
Right.
I didn't think I could do
Right.
that. There's there you have it in you already.
Yeah.
If you want it, you have it.
Yeah. And we sometimes we look at those things as liabilities and maybe they're assets. That as an example, one of the things I was talking to somebody last week and he said, "Well, I'm 26 years old and I've had four jobs in the last 4 years," which so he sees that as a liability. Well, somebody's going to see that as an asset. That here's somebody who pivots as soon as there's a, an opportunity to pivot. He's gained different experience along the way. It doesn't have to be a liability. And really, the only person, maybe not the only person, but the primary person who sees it as a liability is the individual himself. And
Yeah.
if you see it as a liability, if you see your age as a liability, your um, past career arc, whether that's you haven't had a traditional job because you've been raising kids, or you have bounced around to different careers, you've been in different fields, you can just, like what you were saying, you can make that an asset, or you can make it a liability. If you look at it as a liability, you're not going to you're not going to find the success that you're looking for.
Now you got to transform, I don't know if I'm qualified, into I am exactly what they need.
Right. And that's 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 the shift that's going to make a huge difference.
It is. But it's not an easy shift. And it's not
True.
something that happens just, oh, okay, I'm going to think more positively. Got it.
Right. Because we have this
It doesn't.
subconscious that's going to fight against that and say, but you're 61 or 61 years old, 61 degrees. I don't know where that came from. 61 years old. And how can you be what they're looking for? No, I saw a comment on one of my videos the other day that said, nobody's hiring. Oh, that is absolutely not true. People are hiring all the time. Well, nobody hires 60-year-olds. Yeah, huh? Oh, look at companies. They have people that are 60 and older.
Yeah, absolutely. Because they bring that experience
Right.
and they bring their problem solving and their knowledge and all of that to it. Um, shoot, I was going to say something and then I lost it again. Darn, because I'm too
I'm
busy
sorry for
listening to
that.
you. And then I'm listening and then I like totally lose it. Um, but people need to just the thing that a coach does.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I was going to say. The thing a coach does is a coach will hold space
Right.
for you to
Explain
be
what you
able
mean
to
by
see
that,
it.
because I understand what you're talking about, but I want to make sure that it's clear what that means to hold space.
When you are thinking, just like you've been saying, in your head, I don't see any value in this. I don't see, how I'm going to surmount these problems. You need somebody who already sees you as the hero of your journey,
Mm-hmm.
who already understands that you have value
Right.
and that will stay there and maintain that and help you come to see it too.
Right.
That's what it means to me.
Yeah.
I
I love
suppose,
that.
if you ask other people, they're going to have other, um, and it'll be totally valid. But that's what it means for me
I think
because
I think the difference between a coach and a friend is a lot of times when you go, you commiserate with your friends, they're either they're gonna agree with you that you're right, things are horrible and you don't have any experience, and so that's not going to be helpful, or they're going to tell you, buck up, it's going to be okay. And sometimes what you need is just to get it all out and have somebody who, I love the way that you framed it, that somebody who sees that you're the hero of your story. And so once you get it all out, then the coach, I think of a coach as being like a mirror. I'm going to show you an angle or perspective that you haven't seen. You can't see it yourself because you're just too close to it. And that is going to allow you to see that, oh, well, maybe I can think about this differently. Maybe there's a way that I can think about this in a productive way that will be more beneficial than the nobody likes me, everybody hates me type of perspective.
absolutely. And the other thing that a coach will have that a friend doesn't have are strategies
Yeah.
and techniques and things that will help you build skills, help
Yes.
you see things in different ways. A friend, like you said, a friend's gonna be supportive, but or a family member,
Mm-hmm.
will absolutely listen and commiserate and, be there to understand you whenever you need to vent,
Yeah.
but they won't have the strategy that you need to move forward.
Right.
That's the difference.
And maybe they don't see you as the hero of your story.
No.
Maybe they see you as the victim. You're right. They did you wrong. And you shouldn't have lost your job or whatever the situation may have been.
Yeah. And then to be able to say, look what you're doing.
Yeah.
That was a lousy thing to have happen. Look how you have taken control.
Right.
Look at the choices you're making. And helps you just sometimes you like you said, you got to reframe it.
Yeah.
Spin it positive.
Because there's a positive. There's a benefit to everything. We don't necessarily know what the benefit is right away. Um, but yeah, the benefit I had a this is a maybe a an extreme example, but I had a buddy that I loved working with this guy. We were both managers. He promoted. So he ended up being my boss and loved working with this guy. And this was during COVID. And he got very sick and died. And on one hand, I wanted to mourn his loss because I loved working with this guy. But I struggled also because this opened up an opportunity for me to apply for the promotion that I wanted. And I was really conflicted. Is it okay for me to be grateful that there's an opportunity and mourn his loss? And the answer is yes. You can do you
Yeah.
can do both.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is, and I am not saying that his death was a blessing to me. I didn't get the job either. So that didn't work
No, but
out.
I
But
understand the feelings were there.
yeah,
Those conflicted feelings were there, sure.
yeah. But there is a positive perspective that you can have with anything. And sometimes having somebody who is not um, emotionally invested in the story, like a coach or a mentor, can help make it a little bit easier to see what that positive perspective is.
Yeah, absolutely. That's it exactly. And then still be there when you falter,
Yeah,
and be there to say, I understand these feelings are strong. I understand the gremlins want to come back and get you,
right.
but let's look at this again if we need to.
Yeah.
That's okay.
Because we've been there. We've
Mhm. We've
we've
all been there.
had that we've had that experience. And it's okay to have that experience. Um, what have we not talked about yet that would be helpful for people to know, especially as they're looking at wanting to or needing to pivot to their second, third, or fourth career, or fifth, or sixth,
No
whatever the
judging.
situation is?
Um, so the thing I like to talk to people about when people say, I need something actionable. What is
Mm-hmm.
one thing I can do today to change? And the best thing to just start with is shifting your language pattern.
Okay.
And by that I mean, um, I'm I'm new to this field, so I'm not quite sure. My background in teaching gives me a
Uh-huh.
unique perspective on whatever it is.
Yeah.
My background in nursing gives me a unique perspective on busy professionals, how not managing their health is going to lead to
Oh, yes.
overwhelm.
Yeah.
You know, I don't have any traditional experience.
Uh-huh.
I bring a fresh approach
Yeah.
because, I bring a fresh approach to financial planning because my retail background taught me how people really make purchasing decisions.
Ah, yes.
So there's so many, um, just these shifts. Suddenly you just see yourself as credible.
Yeah.
And seeing yourself as credible helps you helps you speak with authority.
Yeah. And not it helps you see yourself as a person with authority, which makes it so much easier to speak with that authority. Another one I'm just going to throw out because it's worked really well for me as well is it is so easy to say I'm bad at spreadsheets, or I'm bad at putting together a social media post. Change that bad at to new at. I'm new at spreadsheets. I'm new at social media posts, and which gives you maybe a little bit more permission to be less than perfect, and gives other people an opportunity to give you a little bit of grace that, oh, well, you're new at it. So you don't, you may not know that
Yeah.
Control C and Control V are your keyboard shortcuts.
Hmm. I had to learn those.
Yes. And they're
So,
fantastic.
yeah. But so instead of I think my background is relevant because, you say something more like my experience doing, managing the nurse, my experience managing difficult patients
Hmm.
directly translates to my helping clients navigate challenging customer situations with confidence.
Yes.
you know so you can really say I'm new to handling this, but I
Hmm.
have all this skill that will help me and help me to help you with it.
Right. That's,
So,
I love that. This has been so much fun. And I love that your experience in your four careers has built on each other to bring you to this point where you can help people have that same experience, especially with the I'll call it the new economy, whatever that means. People are pivoting, sometimes not their choice. They're being moved out of positions, out of jobs, out of companies, and realizing that they need to have a new approach. And I love that you're providing that. So, if people wanted to get to know you a little bit better or work with you, what's the best way for them to connect with you?
you can find me on Facebook,
Mhm.
with my name, Roh Doylida. Everybody calls me Ro, but my full name is Roh. You can find me on Instagram, and there it's Roh. I think it's Roh Doy,
Okay.
Rohdoy. LinkedIn, Roanna Doylida I'm on LinkedIn as well.
Nice.
Um, and so yeah, please reach out to me, connect with me. I wanted to offer to anybody who's listening. We were talking about that feeling of I'm new to social media and not feeling like I have authority or credibility.
Uh-huh.
And so the thing that I offer to people that I found to be really, really helpful is most of us are not designers. Most
Right.
of us do not have any sort of, commercial design background. So these are just, I call it design with confidence. And it's just 12 tips to help you make your social media posts not look so homemade.
Okay.
They're real simple. The kinds of fonts, the kinds of aligning, the backgrounds versus, the text, just all these little pieces
Uh-huh.
that actually make you look so much more credible.
I love it.
And then people don't just scroll right past.
That, especially
Mhm.
in this newer economy, is going to be so helpful. So I will put the link to those,
So
to your social media posts, but also or the social media accounts, but also for the your that gift. I'll put that in the show notes.
terrific.
So
Thank you.
thank you so much for taking some time and sharing your insight, your hopefully inspiration for people who are in a position where they want to or need to make that pivot to their next career. So thanks for being a part of that. And
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to just talk with you about it and to talk
absolutely,
with all of the listeners about it.
yeah, this has been fun. So, and one of these days we'll meet in person. We'll
For
chat
sure.
in real life. That'd be fun. So, and for everybody else, thanks for listening. We will talk to you next week. Get back to the work you love, where you face less stress, gain more happiness, and live into your purpose. Let me help you become unstuck and unstoppable so you can finally have the life you want. Head over to my website to connect with me at kenwilliamscoaching.com.